What is good, YouTube? Zeramus555 here, and sorry I have not made a video. That should just be my slogan. I should just make that like Zeramus555. Sorry for not making a video in a long time. About sums it up. Sadly, I'm under 1,900 subscribers. I've lost like 40 in the past several months. I mean, that's not bad. It's honestly, I know why. It's basically just because I haven't been uploading very many videos, not as many as I used to. I used to do several a week, but as you guys know, I'm busy with school. I do have about 3 weeks left, 3 weeks, and then I can start doing some more videos for you guys. So hopefully that'll be pretty soon. Anyways, without further ado, I am doing a deck profile. It is a deck profile of a deck that I love very much, and I kind of got inspired by Thomas. You guys may know him as Keto Dotzel. I don't know how the heck you say his name. Keto Dotzel. But yeah, basically he kind of inspired me to start playing the deck again. And so I started testing it, and I realized I'm like, this deck's actually still pretty good. It's not great. You definitely have to play a faster variant of it to keep up. I think as a control deck now, it just doesn't really hold its own. I think it's not an OTK. It's definitely just more of a you know, don't misplay. It's much like it's very similar to windups, I find, where if you misplay, you generally lose. So that deck is none other than Six Samurai. I know you guys have probably been waiting for this. I know a lot of people originally subscribed to my channel because of Six Sams. I got second at 2 champs with this deck, and I think I topped in other tournaments as well. But and whenever I did play at locals for that summer, I was in Victoria. I did top pretty much every locals tournament I played this with, and I did win a mat tourney with this as well. Yeah, no, I love this deck. I thought I'd throw it back together, and it's testing pretty darn good. I still don't think it's not as good, near as good as it was when we had Gateway. Unfortunately, losing Gateway did hurt quite a bit. But I mean, ultimately, that was just like if you drew it, you won. So I'm basically just playing the deck kind of like Bo Tang did, where he just kind of didn't even play Gateway even when it was around, because he just kind of said like, I'm not playing this stacky card, you don't need it. So anyways, let's go on with the deck profile here. So starting things off, we do have 2 Kageki. I do not like 3 a whole lot. There was that one build I was running where I was running basically the old school samurai build, which I still kind of stand by. This is very close to it, but I just think 2 Kageki's fine. I think 3 is a little cloggy. He is really good. He was better though when we had Gateway, just for the fact that you could do some pretty awesome plays with him and Shadow. Now the Gateway's gone, Shadow's not really as good as he used to be, just for the fact that like, you know, you really don't need to bring him out that often because he was really just there to manipulate Bushido counters. So I think 2 Kageki is just the perfect number. I don't think 1's enough. Next up, obviously 3 Kagemusha. I see a lot of people running only 2 of this. I tried 2 several times. You need to kind of open this and another Samurai, or this and a Smoke Signal. Like, you need to run 3 of this. There's several cards in this deck I think they're just like staple 3-ofs. 1 Elder, I do not like 2. 2 is bad. I think 2 is okay if you're running triple Asceticism, but I also think Asceticism is not a very good card. If a lot of people, good players, will remember that Asceticism was originally played when Signal was at 1. We have Signal back at 3. We do not need 3 Asceticism with 3 signals. It's just too much. You end up drawing these really cloggy monster hands with no protection. And the one thing samurais do lose to is monster effects. And what do you need to stop monster effects? Protection. So 1 Elder is just perfect. More than that is bad. Unless, like I said, you're running triple Asceticism, which is also bad. Some people may disagree, though. Triple Kizan, that's another card I think you need to run 3 of. I'm not going to say anything about that. He's just your spammer. Helps you with rank 4 plays. The 1 G-Master Flex. I see a lot of people cutting this guy. I was kind of almost going to do it as well, because I mean, he doesn't really help a whole lot, but there is one thing I do like him. I like about him is he is level 5, and I'll kind of get to that in my extra deck later on. I mean, he's Grandmaster. He baits out damn back rows, and you know, you can't warn him because he just gets his effect. So, Enishi MVP monster in the deck, honestly, next to Shi En. It's basically a Bionic during the player's turn, but you don't have to pitch anything from your hand. You literally just have to, you know, banish 2 cards in the graveyard, and you generally always have 2 samurais in the grave because you've, you know, synchro plays or you made Shien or something. So, 1's perfect. And I'm not running Zanji. I do not like Zanji. When you draw it, it sucks. It doesn't do anything. You basically need to have it and 2 other samurais in the field to get its crash effect off. A lot of people don't realize that. I've had several times on DN where, or Dev Pro even, where people just quit because they like summon Zanji, have another samurai, and they try and do like the crash thing to get over my bigger monster, and then they realize like to get his effect off, the Zanji has to be alive at the end of the damage step, and he would die at the end of the damage step, so he doesn't actually get his effect. So you basically need to have him and 2 other samurais on the board to get his effect. I mean, he is good for an asceticism target if you're running lots of asceticisms, but I just feel like asceticism, once again, isn't a good enough card. There's too many things that can stop it if you're a good player, and a lot of good players know how to play around it, that it's just running a bad 1800 monster just for an asceticism target just isn't worth it. And you already have 4 level 4s in the deck, so I mean, rank 4 plays are really easy, especially because Double-Edged Sword Technique is a card. 1 Spirit, I love this guy. I think he's one of the best cards in the deck. He's probably my 3rd favorite monster next to Shi En and Enishi. You just summon him, equip him onto Shi En, and you're basically drawing 2 cards every turn. Plus you have a 3000 Shi En that they can't get over. I mean, you don't have to just equip this on Shi En. There's also the fact that he, when you activate his effect when he's equipped, he comes back as a special summon, counts as a summon for your Bushido counters. So he's just a really, really good card, and he also helps with those double-edged combos with Shi En. The combo is fantastic. Basically, you activate it, special Shi En Spirit, and then you equip the Spirit onto the Shi En. In the end, you draw a card, of course, if you can get over something. And then in the end phase, the double edge will activate, trying to blow up the Shi En. Spirit will die instead, since Shi En didn't die and Spirit's no longer a monster. It's an equip spell. You don't take any burn damage whatsoever. So it's a really, really good play, and it just puts in work. And the last monster, I don't really like drawing this guy, but I've had games where actually his pitch to save battle thing is actually really good. It's surprised a lot of people as well, because they think, okay, I got everything else up, I'm going to get over Shi En. And you just like pitch this, it survives in their turn, and then you can just, you know, they're screwed. They can't do what they wanted to do next turn, and you still got your Shien on board. And just the fact that level 1 tuners are really, really powerful. So that's the monster lineup, guys. 14 monsters. Like I said, no Zanji. Hand's just a better card because you can kind of manipulate it. It gets around Fiendish Chain, which is really cool. I've seen a lot of scrubs misplay with that too. It's really funny how many people forget how to play against Samurai, since it's really not making a big impact anymore. So on to spells, we have 3 6 Samurai United. This is the one reason I think this deck is still somewhat viable, other than Shien and Enishi, is this card here just lets you, it's basically a Pot of Greed, and generally you're going to get it off every turn. It's just really, really good. If you open like 2 Smoke Signal, or 2 United, sorry, you generally have game. You just gain so much advantage. And if you know how to play it properly, you basically thin out the deck and then draw cards, and you just draw into all your protection. Next up, since I absolutely hate asceticism, I see a lot of people running 2 of this, but I think 3 is a really good number, Dojo. It is a bad top deck, but I mean, so is asceticism. I mean, if you might argue that asceticism is a better top deck because it really only requires 1 monster. But I find a lot of the times, like, I'd rather open this. Like, games where you open Enishi and asceticism sucks. But if you open this and Enishi, you're like, okay, well, that equals a level 5 synchro. I can make my Shien and I'll be okay. With asceticism, you just can't do anything. It's too easy to stop. This baits out MST as well, which I really like. It's another reason why I think it's a really good card, is everyone's running like triple MS, two or three MSTs right now, so obviously this helps out a lot. But it's just a good card. It just helps with speed. I think it's a better toolbox than asceticism, just mainly for the fact that it doesn't have the limitation of what attack the monster's at. And it also just speeds up the deck. Turn or game 2 and 3, I'm probably going to side out 1 or 2 of those, just keep 1 or 2 in. 3 is just really good turn 1. You win that die roll, you just open the nuts and make a big board. Like Shien plus Beast turn 1 is just still such a huge thing. It's so hard to get over. And generally, you do that against Fire Fist, you win. They don't have any plays to get over that because they rely so heavily on those continuous spells and traps. And usually the traps, you need to have some spells on the board to get them off. So. And then your searchers, this is the reason why I do not think you need 3 asceticism anymore, or even 2. This card's at 3. We have 4 rotas in this deck. Like, that's a lot of decks don't have 4 rotas. I think this is one of the only decks in the game that actually has 4 cards that actually search out what they need. And I feel like with that, we don't really need more than that. So in that sense, I'm actually only running 1 asceticism. I really only have 2 targets for it, or 3 technically. If Kizan's at 21 when there's 2 other samurais on the board, you can of course special the Grandmaster, which isn't a bad play, especially if you're going for like a quick OTK or something, which this deck still can do. It's just not as consistent. Also, I just feel like once you use the first Elder, you're never going to use the second one. Like, you just don't need it. But ideally, this is just for that random game where you're going to open up Kageki and Kagemusha and then this, and it basically gets you that nice Shien Enishi setup turn 1. Just 1's a good number. I only, like I said, have 3 targets, so I think more than that's not worth it. And once again, I don't feel like running a second Asceticism is necessary, because that means I technically have to run another Zanji, or a Zanji, I should say, which I don't really like. And then closing off the spells, two MSTs and 1 Book of Moon. Sorry for the glare. I do not run Dark Hole in here, of course. That's Samurai. You need your field presence. I mean, Dark Hole's a great card. I do like it because some games you just like they field swarm turn 1, you can't get over it, and Dark Hole definitely helps with those comebacks. But generally, Samurai, if you lose your board presence, you've lost the game. It's really hard to come back with Samurai late game if you don't keep your advantage, or at least keep it even. 2 MSTs basically there, just for the pure fact that obviously Tenki's really popular right now. Kaiser Coliseum's a card, although we don't really have a huge problem with it, because if we have Shien with Kaiser Coliseum on the board, we're in a good spot. Bujin is a harder matchup, but as long as you can basically stop them from keeping their Yamato on the board, which isn't really too hard as long as you win the die roll, but Yukio's a die roll game, you're in a good spot. So that's the spells. I have no idea how many it is, but you can figure it out later. On to the traps. There is 1 trap I have a substitute in here for, but I'm just playing a fun card for right now because I need to actually get another one, which I know Brennan has a spare. I'll get it off him. So triple double-edged sword technique. I feel like you need to run 3 of this. I see a lot of people running 1 or 2. This deck's lost a lot of speed since Gateway, and this is the reason why the deck, I think, is still viable. It's also the fact that I feel like this is basically replacing your other Shiens. If they kill Shien, which very rarely does he actually get banished or bounced, and if he gets bounced, you can just bring him out again. But banishing is really the one thing you want to really worry about, and Solemn Warning are the scary cards. But if he dies and goes to the grave, they finally run him over. You just double edge, bring him another Samurai back. Ideally Spirit, if you get that off, you're in a really good position. But if not, you basically just summon another Samurai from your hand, and then the end phase, when this tries to kill Shien, you can just use this to negate destruction effect and blow up something else instead. So it's really, really good. It just helps make those pushes, and I think a lot of people do forget as well, this is an instant XYZ or Synchro without the requirements of having another monster or something on board, say like Golem's Emergency Call. So 2 Fiendish Chain. I'm running 3. The funny card I'm running is a joke. I kind of wanted to see if I can get it off against Brendan. I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't watch this. He probably will. Is going to be replaced with the 3rd Fiendish Chain. I think you need to run 3 Fiendish Chain, because that is ideally the one thing that Samurai is weak against is monster effects, and that definitely helps us. So 2 Mirror Force. I see a lot of people as well running just 1. I tested out 1. You don't see it enough. And, I mean, Gores isn't really the problem anymore, but there's just so many decks that spam, and Mirror Force is just a really, really good card. So I think it helps out quite a bit. I do side deck D-Prisons just for those random like Chaos Dragon matchups and stuff. It's just a really good card. Compulsory is still really good, just the fact you can bounce back your own Samurai and like special again and gain more counters, but you know that was better when Gateway was around, but it's still a really, really good card. There's just some cards that this deck has a hard time getting over. Draco Sack ideally, and you know, Abyss, Gaios, or the heck that guy's name is. And then obviously Bottomless Compulsory, or sorry, Warning. I do not run Torrential once again. It's all about board presence. 1 Magatama, I do not like 2. I was testing 2 out. It's really not that good. It's okay against the Fire Fist matchup, but they're usually going to find some way to play around your Shien anyways. Just 1's fine. It's just a good number. And then the last card's Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Do not run this. I'm just writing this as a joke. This is going to be the 3rd Fiendish Chain, but I thought it would be funny. It's either going to be this or Vanity's Emptiness. Vanity's Emptiness would be a much better choice if you don't have a 3rd Fiendish Chain. But this is kind of funny because you can like tribute off your Shien, and then like you get your negate off, they try and bait it out, and they dark hole, and then you just like chain Eradicator, and you call like traps or something, and you just win. So, and then you can of course double edge back your Shien after you've tribbed it off. So it's actually kind of cool. I don't know. Maybe it'll test well. We'll see what happens. So quickly onto the extra deck. I know we're at 15 minutes here, but I've been trying to do a really solid explanation of why the deck works this format, and I hope you guys do appreciate that. So the one Mist Wurm, only level 9. The one level 8 is Crimson Blair. Just helps with decks that obviously this deck has a hard time against, which is decks that bring out bigger monsters. For level 6s, I don't run Black Rose just because there's only one Grandmaster. Oh, sorry. There's only one Grandmaster, and I just don't feel like it's really necessary. I mean, the play is there. I could run it, but I don't really know what I would cut. There's some things I can cut, but I don't know. I just never brought out Grandmaster, or sorry, Black Rose. Naturia Beast, that's a staple. I'm running Psyhemuth. I like him over Gaia Knight, or whatever the heck his name is. Gaia Knight doesn't do any of these 2600 beat, and 2600 really isn't that big anymore. I mean, it does help get over Stardust, but this does too. This also is great because it gets sort of like Draco Sack and stuff, which is a hard thing to get rid of for this deck. If I had one, I'd run Vulcan over this guy just because you can like recycle your Fiendish Chain, which is obviously quite good. MVP of the deck, obviously, Shi En, one of my favorite cards of all time. Naturia Beast, Catastor. Another card I'm missing for the extra deck, it's very important actually, is Armades. He's really, really good. He helps with the Mermail matchup, helps with the Bujin matchup a lot because that's a tough matchup because of the Cranes. And just overall, just really important card. I mean, if you're not running it, you can find alternatives. This is why I'm saying I think Grandmaster is still really good, is because generally you're going to have that Grandmaster and the Shien on board, and if you make your push, you can actually do a cool play where you overlay for this guy, and you pop their monster by detaching the Shien, and you just double edge, bring back Shien and something else, and then you can still run over one of their other monsters, and then pull them, and then pump. He's just good. I mean, that burn effect, people just don't expect it sometimes, and just having that random burn for game after you punch, excuse me, can be really surprising, and it can be a game changer. Bulkasaurus is obviously a broken card. Alternatively, you could run Tyrus if you wanted to. The one Shadow, still good. I run Black Ship because I don't have 101. If I had 101, I'd be running him over Black Ship. Excalibur, Damodar Wolf, he'd probably come up for Armades. Maestro, Dweller, and Zenmaines. You do not need Exciton Knight for this deck, just because you once again always have board presence. You don't want to blow up your Shien. So that's the deck, guys. Sorry it was so long, the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's been a long time since I put up a Samurai deck profile, so hopefully you guys are really excited about seeing this. And hopefully it's informed you about some of the good choices you can make this format and this upcoming format as well. This is obviously, I should say, going to be for the the beginning of the April format, and basically the Prio or Prio format, whatever you want to call it. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.